Welcome everyone back to Forward Operating Base Lake Fork. I'm Greg Hill. I'm the host of your fishing show today. It is September the 12th, and this is a special edition fishing report just for the Sealy Big Bass Tournament that's coming up. Look, this is one of my favorite tournaments that I can't fish. This tournament is what brought me to Lake Fork back in 2000, and I've been fishing here ever since, and fell in love with the place and built the property, and besides the Marine Corps and Boeing and all that type of stuff, but ended up here doing this, and it's just a great adventure for me. Just looking forward to basically sharing these reports with you guys, and I hope I can share something that'll help someone do good in this tournament, because it was always a big deal for me to come here and at least win it, get at least one fish to earn some money, pay for my gas, pay for my entry fee, all that kind of stuff. Make the wives happy a little bit. So I'll get right into the report. And I'll start off by saying, look, this report's going to talk about what I've been doing, but I mean, look, the weather, the fall is getting ready to hit, and tomorrow, Thursday, the temperatures are supposed to drop. We're supposed to get rain. I think it's supposed to clear up again on Saturday, but the fishing is going to change. And I'll get to that, but the fishing is definitely going to change. What people have been doing is probably not going to work as well, or some people that might be fishing shallower, it might be even working better once this water really cools off. So I'll get into that. But hey, the lake continues to fall a little bit, just because we're about 2 feet low, and it's falling because of just evaporation. I'm not aware of them pumping any water out of the lake. The water temperatures are sitting between, 2 weeks 95, they're about 85 now. I saw some 83-degree water today, so that was kind of the coolest weather that I've seen. And then clarity. The clarity has got that really, really greenish color back in the back of these coves where I am right now. But if you go out to the main lake, you do get a better visibility. So the main lake does have some better visibility than back here in these areas and stuff. So, but look, today and yesterday, caught one yesterday. One of the unders we caught yesterday was like 15 and a half. It was a 2.2. That was a good fish, and that fish kind of fell into the group that I'm seeing, I think, a better chance to catch the money fish, for me at least. So I have a theory, and sometimes the theory works out, sometimes it doesn't. It's that there's two different kinds of fish in this lake. There was three really. There's the football fish. There's the Florida strains, like a pure Florida strain fish, and then there's a mix between a natural largemouth and the Florida strain. They've interbred, and then there's the larger. There's the longer, more natural largemouth. They're longer and skinnier here. So I always say, if you want to catch the shortest, fattest fish, you're looking for those football fish. And then if you're looking for the one that's going to be 24 inches, hey, who cares if it weighs 7 pounds? I mean, you're probably still going to win an hour if you get a 7 pounder, 7.5 pounder. It's over 24 inches more, you're still going to win it. So just think about that. But breaking down the lake into the main lake, some of these primary and secondary points, and then the back of the coves. So my bigger fish are still coming out of the main lake right now. So some slot fish and those. And I think the biggest chance to probably catch an over is probably out in the main lake. It's going to be chasing some shad. People are going to be throwing some crankbaits, and I'll go over those. Some crankbaits, some moving kind of bait that can get down into these schools where the schools are, and long skinny one's going to come up and eat it. Who knows what the weight will be, but you're not really fishing for the weight, you're fishing for that length. And then these primary and secondary points, that's kind of like the phasing into the back of these coves. There's a mixture of those fish there. You catch the football fish there, I think, and you could do that, and I'll talk about how my techniques. But the back of the coves, catch a lot of smaller fish back there. So today 8-10 fish. I lost count because I didn't just was tossing them back in, because they most of them weren't big enough even to measure. They were 12, 13, 8 inches, so they weren't just long enough to get in that weight class. So for me today, this last day before the rain kicks in, my fish that I caught that I could have weighed in came deeper. Not saying you can't catch them shallow, and I'm sure it's going to be shallow because I caught fish shallow today, but I was fishing some little crankbaits and things like that, and soft plastics, and and then kind of working really fast where they're trying to cover some more water to kind of talk to some other clients about where they get fish. But so Okay, and now let's talk about the baits. I talked about the main lake, and I talked about the points and the main points and secondary points and the back of the coves area. I will tell you, let me go back a little bit. The back of the coves have a lot of bait fish in them. I mean, I saw just huge schools of threadfin shad, back in the back of some of these coves today. There's got to be grass there, and so and it's 2 to 3 feet deep even. They're just piled in there. I could see the fish chasing them once in 2 places, but I couldn't get any bites when there was that many bait fish, though, honestly, in those areas. So maybe there were too many bait fish there. I'm going to see my lure. And then talk about the lure. So what was I throwing in those areas? So I won't show every one of them because I cycled through, but hey, I'm throwing these kind of shad colored. This is almost the exact size of the shad that I'm seeing running around back there. Just the nice shad color with the white, the black cheek dot on it. And this is just another mixture, just a little blue back on it though. So you can throw anything like that. I've got a smaller one even up here that I threw. And this one catch really some of the smaller ones. You can see they're all kind of the same pattern. I tried some darker colors. They didn't seem to work as well. The water has that greenish color. I think they need a little of that white to kind of make it stand out a little bit when they see it go by. And then also that's what they're eating right now. So it's kind of like matching the hash. So that's the back of the coves and stuff. And I did throw a little bit of a smaller lipless crankbait in the barfish pattern, but I didn't get any bites on it. But I still think it's going to work. I've always caught some on there. I just didn't today. So going on these points in the main lake. So the secondary and main lake points, you're still, depending how deep they are, you've got your 6XDs, 8XDs, and 10XDs. I mean, that fish that we caught, the larger, the 2.21, it was on 10XD. So, it's not that you can't catch an under on a big bait, but generally speaking, that wasn't what I was fishing for, when that was taking place. So, and again, I've got some different colors, but they're pretty much all shad colors. I'm not going to go through all of them. Chatterbaits in the grass areas though too, and on these points. If you throw a heavier chatterbait, some kind of vibration, you kind of rip it off the bottom and rip it off the bottom. I think these fish, since they're schooled up and they're chasing shad, they're looking for this kind of a reactionary strike. It seemed like even the crankbait, if you're moving it slow, it wasn't good. They start like moving like a jerk bait almost, and that's when they were hitting it. So it just seems like maybe that reactionary strike. Back in the very, very, very shallow water, then we could slow it down a bit. But out there in either on the points in the main lake, I was really working the baits, kind of fast and stop kind of thing. It wasn't a nice, slow, steady, deep return. It was just an erratic bait. Hey, I threw the hubcap, and I had one really good bite on it, but the fish got off. And again, hubcap. Why do I call it a hubcap? Well, it's an 8-inch long spoon. It's huge. I mean, this is a Lake Fork special right here, man. But I will tell you, those fish are out there. If you're good with your electronics, you got your side imaging working to kind of spot them, make sure there's a lot of bait fish in there. In this case, there were multiple balls of bait fish in the area. And then when I turned around with the Garmin, I could then see and look below it and actually see some fish that were feeding on the bait fish. If you see the bait fish just strung out in a big long string, nothing's really eating on them. If you see them tighten up, balled up when you're going through, something's been foraging on them. That's why they get in those balls to help protect themselves. So just look about that when you're deciding where you're going to spend some time to fish. Now I know for Sealy anyway, there's a lot of boats out there, right? So whether you can really idle around too much and look at places, at first in the morning probably not, but after that you probably have a chance to do it. So and let's talk about what else I got on here. So you can't do anything out here in this deep water without a Carolina rig. Now I'm Carolina rigging. This is a magic color. This is a V&M bait, just looks like a fluke. It's a V&M bait, and you can get those at Lake Fork Resort. They're great over there, but that's what I've been using my Carolina rigs, mixing up. I threw an Alabama rig the other day. I caught a bunch of sand bass. Caught 1 or 2 small bass, but it was nothing to talk about. So I'm not saying the Alabama rigs won't work, but it didn't work for me when I was using it. So maybe I had the wrong ones on there. Also, soft baits, we've been kind of doing this ever since we had all this really crazy new grass that's growing up on the lake. So it's a great rig. It's something you can throw back in this grass, and it's not just a thing. So you can see the hook on here. So you see it's a screw-in hook. This is a Gamakatsu. It's a weighted, weedless presentation. You can put whatever, fluke or something like that you on there. But look, this is great for working back through that grass. You can just hop it through there. It'll dart in and out of that grass. You can do the different colors. But this has been, ever since we've had this, a lot more new grass on the lake, this has been a great rig to be throwing, and I've been keeping one on all the time. So, see what else. And again, so a football head or a shaky head, 10-inch worms. I mean, it can either that or a big crankbait or a big spoon. I think it's going to catch an over. I mean, that's what I think. You got to go out to these deeper points now. The thermocline where I was looking the other day was right around 27 feet, 26 feet. So I was looking between 22 and 25. I know guys have been shipping, some of those people have been shooting a little shallower than that, and I've caught them 14 feet deep. But I was still throwing deeper. But they were slot fish. I didn't see it. I didn't really see what I thought was an over. But I mean, you can only cover so many points in a day when you're fishing. So, plus look around in these back areas. So I just didn't come across one. I don't think. But look, a couple of things out for the Sealy too to remember. Look, everyone be polite out there. If there's gonna be boats everywhere, but if some guy's casting, don't just run right up on them. But I will tell you that some places, when you have to idle through places, if you're in a boat and you're casting and trying to cast across like the mouth to some place, and I've had this, I am only mentioning this because it's happened to me. Somebody's fishing and they're throwing way out a big long Carolina rig across the mouth of a place. Well, if there's a mile of fishing behind you, you can't block off a whole cove because you want to fish the mouth. You got to leave room, or at least let people pass right by your boat, either behind it or in front of it. So everybody be courteous out there. We're all there to catch good fish and have a good time, I think. So that's the one little thing I'll say. But look, good luck to everyone out there in the Sealy tournament. Like I said, I wish I could be fishing it myself, but I can't anymore because of guiding. But you guys have a great day fishing. I hope you have a great time out there on the Sealy Big Bass Tournament. I hope everybody catches an over. Hopefully, right? So, hey, I'm Greg Hill from 40 Operating Base Lake Fork, and I'm signing off. So you guys have a great day. Yeah, one of my other hidden talents is I can talk to turkeys.